locked and loaded and ready to go. How you doing, bro? How's your Bitcoin bag?
Oh, see, I'm missing out on all that. You had to throw those numbers out there right before I got on. So,
It was,
yeah, now that
we,
FOMO was definitely hitting
we
me.
were talking before you were on it.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Are you kidding me, dude? The way the market is going, I mean, you know,
Yeah.
it's we're loving life right now, bro. Right now, it's things are as they say, out of control, my friend. Bitcoin over 57. We'll be at 60,000 soon. We're off and running, bro. We're off and
Yeah.
running. As I told Steve Calibro from Hialeah Park, I told him this time next year we'll be talking about $100,000 Bitcoin, and so it's hard for people to understand that, but it's going to happen. How about Jonathan Jensen? He says my 22-year-old son has 2 full Bitcoins. Any suggestions on his plans going forward since he bought way back in 2018, so he got it real cheap? Hold forever. I know you're not a financial advisor. LOL. Yes, you
Mhm.
hold forever. You don't sell your Bitcoin. Okay. You sell all the altcoins. Bitcoin, you hold on forever. He's going to become Jonathan his own bank. He will be able to lend out money, and he's the one that's going to be getting all the interest, and he's the one that's going to get all the leverage. So, yes, you hold on to your Bitcoin, my friend. Yes. You do not, and make sure he has it on a cold storage wallet. He's young, so he's probably way ahead of you, and he probably gets it because younger people get it. It's older people like me that are completely lost and intimidated. But make sure, please, he has it in a cold storage wallet that he's not keeping his bitcoins on an exchange. That would be my suggestion, sir. But definitely hang on to it because it's going to grow like out of control. So anyway, how you feeling, my man? You feeling good?
Doing well over here at the Indiana Convention Center. Just got in to Indianapolis yesterday, and first day out here at media availabilities. So, Mike McDaniel speaking later today. So we'll get his first comments in almost 2 months. No, a month and a half since the end of the season. So, yeah, a lot will be going on this week here at the
I would
combine.
imagine a lot of Weaver talk, a lot about the coaches that he added. I would imagine there's going to be a lot of those questions.
Sure, yeah, coaching staff, and then this time of year, always a primer going into free agency, and obviously the Dolphins have the big decision to make on Christian Wilkins coming up, March 5th deadline if they do decide to franchise tag him, and then obviously trying to work out a deal, and then a lot of other storylines going into free agency, and then obviously this is the combine, so the bottom line they're here to see prospects, so maybe some draft outlook as well, where the Dolphins still do have a first round pick going into the final 2 months leading up to the draft.
Yeah, no, definitely. They definitely have the pick, but they also have options, and that's the good thing. They're going to have flexibility, which I think you're not into the cap crisis thing anymore, right? We're done with that, right? We past that. The
No,
cap
and
crisis.
especially the Dolphins got great news on was it Friday with where the new cap stands at that number 255.4, which is higher than expected. So yeah, actually now the Dolphins are going into like this 27 over the cap range, especially after the other moves. Emmanuel Ogba, Xavier Howard money doesn't hit until post June 1, but just great news that the Dolphins got. I saw one tweet from Josine Anderson saying that a source told her this is the Taylor Swift surplus money. So with the league doing great business, then the salary cap goes up, and a pleasant surprise for a lot of teams, but especially the Dolphins who were in this cap crisis going into the year, and then now that's a difference of $12 million from where we thought they were going to stand to where they do.
Yeah. So I think everything will be very workable, when it's all said and done. Um, I
Yeah,
am now,
even more so than before, which
I,
already was workable.
and I know the other report, and I do trust Dan Graziano is one of those guys I do trust. The only thing is, I have to still see it to believe it that they're going. I think there's because of the cap space. I think there's a chance they could tag him and hold him for one more year, and kind of a dick move of not giving him a long term contract. What I still don't believe is there will be a long term contract. But because of Friday's actions,
Right.
I still think they can make all their moves and tag Wilkins if they felt like it now. something I don't think they could have done before Friday's news. But now with Friday's news, I think there's still a chance they could tag him and hold on to him to make a run for one more year. Your thoughts on that? On tag
Yeah,
paying or actually getting a long-term contract?
yeah. I think you go to the negotiating table, and then if Christian Wilkins' number and the Dolphins' number, then they still can't make progress and get somewhere close to a deal. Then you proceed with the franchise tag, especially with the news that you have more of that flexibility for 2024. So, uh, yeah, you can afford that $22 million tag. Go for it, and then you have him for at least one more year, and it's not really his decision; it's the team decision. And then you hold off on your long term plans with him, especially if you can't reach that number. So I would say try to first, and then if that number, if you can't settle on the number that suits both sides, then go ahead and franchise tag him. That's your option. That's the best player to utilize the tag on. It's really the only player that's up for it for the Dolphins. So go ahead and move forward with it.
When you what'd you think of the Tyreek Hill comments on taking up karate and MMA and all that kind of stuff? The fighting and all that. I think that's just him clowning around. To be quite honest, he won't be able to do it anyways in the NFL. But bottom line, which I actually think that's a good thing for him to practice other things. If it can help him hang on to the ball, especially, that would be nice.
Yeah. Okay. So refresh my memory on what it is that Tyreek Hill. What did he say exactly?
He was on a podcast and he says that he's adding to his off-season regimen karate and MMA. You haven't seen this?
No, no. This is the first I hear it.
Okay. All right.
I
So
missed
yeah,
it. Okay. So
and then he joked around about taking on Jake Paul and talking talking to Dana White about getting in the ring, which it's really an octagon, but whatever. Um, so yeah, but to me, that was kind of him clowning around in the podcast. So that's why I wanted to ask you because I actually think working out in other ways than whatever you sport you play in, I think it's a positive because it works other muscles and hand-eye coordination sometimes becomes even better when you're doing other things outside of what you normally do every day. So to me, I find it as a positive that he's going to do, something like that, adding karate and MMA to his regimen.
yeah, they say that for kids growing up all the time. Don't focus on a sport. Let yourself develop in various sports, and then and then later on you can focus in on whatever you're best at, wherever you have the most tools to move forward and advance through levels. And yeah, well, now for Tyreek Hill, you always have to take what he says with a grain of salt. He clowns around a lot in interviews. Sometimes you can't tell when he's being sarcastic, when he's really being genuine with what he's saying. So I'd have to hear the tone in how he said it. But hey, it's like Tua did jujitsu last year. It's I guess everyone's trying their different martial arts to work out different muscles and build different muscle memory.
Yeah, exactly. And the martial arts does, he does have a lot of contact. So maybe that will help him and maybe also body control in the air. That might also help you a little bit more in those areas. So to me, I found it to be a positive. The other thing that came out and everybody got on top of it, the Jets are releasing Laken Tomlinson, and obviously he was with the Niners and McDaniel was with the Niners, and they've had their guard issues, especially on the left side. Isaiah Wynn was looking good, so he is going to come back, and hopefully he can, start to build on what he was doing last year. But are you looking at Tomlinson as an option for the Dolphins?
Yeah, that certainly has to be an option. That makes your ears perk when you think of Mike McDaniel's history with him. And he even brought him up one time last year. I was interviewing Mike McDaniel at owners meetings and asking him about his confidence in Austin Jackson and Liam Eichenberg for this was last year, so going into this past season, and he was still on board with these guys and developing them. And Laken Tomlinson was actually the example he gave for the guy that once was sort of written off in the same way on the offensive line, and then that they stuck with him. They developed him, and he ended up getting another contract. He ends up getting a second contract. He was a Pro Bowler at one point, so now he is getting up there in age. He's over 30, and obviously the Jets had their struggles this past year, but yeah, I mean that's definitely an option. And now Isaiah Wynn's coming off a season-ending injury as well. The Dolphins have three guards that are in free agency, and also the starting center coming off an ACL tear. So, yeah, that's someone I would look at. That definitely it catches my eye that Laken Tomlinson becomes available and Mike McDaniel has that pass with him.
Scheme, man. Maybe
Yeah.
this scheme is what fits him better, and he's able to play better in this scheme. All right. So, what's the agenda for the Dolphins in your eyes this week at the Combine?
Yeah, as far as checking out draft prospects or overall, because obviously there's always so many things going on in the background, negotiations. Yeah,
Overall, my brother, draft picks, they don't mean shit this week, dude. Come on, bro. I've been at this for 30 years. All you're doing is running or watching them run around in shorts. You might interview them, but you're not picking them this week. You're not doing anything with
right.
them this week. So to me, it's really about all the other stuff in the periphery, the free agency, trades
Yeah.
possibility, interest in other players. That's really what the combine is all about. The rest of the bullshit. It's really about injuries and interviews. That's what the combine is. I don't give a shit about you running the gauntlet or whatever. I mean, give me a break, dude. Whether you run a strong 40 or not, that doesn't mean shit to me. You know,
You know, and
it's all
now
about
being here.
yeah.
Now being here 3 years, I kind of feel like they put all the prospects out to do all this testing, sort of as an excuse to get together. It's kind of like when you and your friends just find whatever, like oh, there's a Heat game on tonight. Let's go to Flanagan's, so something like that. Like just find an excuse for
You know,
everyone to come together.
you know what the college players are? This is what they are. When you go to a Heat game, Bernie comes out with his little gun and he starts shooting shirts. The dog and pony show part of the game, that's what the players are. Running around in shorts, they're the t-shirts being shot into the crowd. The actual game being played on the court, that's actually the GMs, the people talking to agents, talking about free agents, talking about their own free agents, talking about possible trades. That's the real combine, bro. That's what really goes on. The stuff running in shorts, that's for the fans to gobble up that bullshit. Oh, this guy did 225 46 times. Wow, that's fantastic. Yeah, none of that means
Yeah.
anything.
Right,
Nothing.
and they do take the information that they gather from his testing and the interviews, but they keep it in the back pocket because the draft isn't for another 2 months here. So the immediate needs is coming up in a couple of weeks when free agency begins, the legal tampering period that Monday, March 11th, and then free agency officially begins March 13th. So. And a lot of your needs get settled in free agency before the draft. So then your whole outlook on the draft could entirely change. Not to mention, especially for the Dolphins, they could end up trading high end draft picks, as Chris Greer is known to do. So, if I'm looking at as if I was within the Dolphins on the docket, I'm looking at the interior of the offensive line. What my plan is on that front. Obviously, Wilkins on the defensive line is a high priority that we've already spoken about ad nauseum here. So settling on securing him for the future, or if not, then you're going to have a hole to fill with also Raekwon Davis as a free agent, and then DBs now because you have two safeties that are free agents. You have Xavier Howard at cornerback that you moved on from that everyone knew you had to do. And you're going to need some guys around Jalen Ramsey in the secondary at edge rusher, or with where Jalen Phillips and Bradley Chubb are determining uh, what you need if both of them are starting the year on the PUP list, and with Andrew Van Ginkel also a free agent. So there's no shortage of things that the Dolphins need to keep their eye on and really hone in on here as you get toward March, the middle of March, the new league year and free agency.
Like I've told people, the combine is for this. Okay, you have two linebackers. You love this guy from Kansas. You love this guy from Kansas State. You love them equally, right? Because you watch the film. They're both good football players. This, that, boom, boom, boom. Okay. Now we get to the combine. Now you get to sit down and you get to have a conversation for 20, 30 minutes with the guy. And you find out this guy's dumb as bricks and his interests are stupid shit. And then you find out this guy, his IQ is really high and he reads philosophy and he's into this, that, and he's really smart. And you're like, okay, same guys. All right, let's go with the smarter guy. Two guys even. You love these two left tackles. One's from USC, the other one's from UCLA. And you're like, okay, all right, we love them both. Now let's go through the medicals. This guy's got a right knee that's been scoped twice. It's got some cartilage missing. This other guy's clean. We like them both the same. Let's go with the guy that's a little healthier. That's what the combine is all about. That's where you find out about a player. I love this quarterback and I love that quarterback. And they're both about the same. Now you sit down and one answers all your questions, can decipher every defense. The other guy needs help. And then that's what ends up happening, in the process. Jared Goff. It was Jared Goff and who was the other one at the top of the
Carson Wentz?
Carson
Wentz, that draft.
So I know some people in the Rams. And the Rams interviewed both guys. You know who they took, right? Okay. So they go and the offensive coordinator comes down and starts to interview him and starts to put out a defense, this, that. And Jared Goff answers all the questions to a T about what this defense is doing, what that defense is doing, this, that. And Wentz struggled with it, right? So they end up taking what's it called? Goff over Wentz because of the IQ session of deciphering defenses. They liked them both equally, but they wanted Goff in the end because of that.
Yeah, it's those kind of tiebreakers that I think is kind of what you're getting at in making these decisions. And sure, I mean, you never know.
That's what went on with the Rams. The Rams were like, no, we got to get Goff. That's the guy we wanted because his memory apparently was impeccable. Like apparently the coordinator would put the stuff out, have him watch it for a second, then take it all down, and then he'd be able to put it right back up again and run the play and go exactly where he needed to go. And it was one of those things that they were more impressed by the Q&A session with Goff than they were with Carson Wentz, and that's a fact. And so these are things that go on, and this is what the combine is. The shit that they put on for you on the NFL Network, bro, that's just to get ratings and keep the football in the the NFL in the headlines, and that's what that shit is for. That's all. You know what I mean? And fans then clamor to go out there and watch. Are they still doing that, by the way? Where they give a section to the fans to come out? Are they still doing that shit? I don't even know.
I'm not sure. We'd have to find out once it actually goes down. And actually, to your point, so this is now my third combine. I assumed going into the first one. Well, I knew you had to get all the scoop on what's going on going into free agency in a couple weeks, but and the networking aspect and everything like that. But I assumed you actually do go to watch drills going into the first one, and then I found out very quickly that is not even a little bit of what you do as a media member covering the combine.
I never go to the stadium. I go to the stadium to record the coach. The first day or second day, usually they talk for the Dolphins. And the first, second day, I find out what time. Okay, I'll go to the stadium. I'll record that. And I never go back again, bro. Never go back again. You know why? In the morning, while they're all stuck there and doing all their little interviews and all that, I'm out on the streets trying to find agents who are hanging out. They're hanging out in hotels and lobbies. That's a little tip for you, by the way. They're hanging out in hotels, lobbies, bars all over the place while most of the media is stuck in those rooms interviewing the college guys. And I get that they've got to do that because they've got articles coming up for the draft a couple months from now, and they're going to use a lot of that material. So, dude, I understand that. But if you really want to network, you can network while you're doing that instead of being there. You know what I'm saying? If you don't need all that draft stuff, which you do, unfortunately, you have to get that stuff because you're going to write stories a month from now or 2 months from now about a certain tight end or offensive lineman that you ended up talking to in the combine, and now you can use that stuff. So, there's a lot of pre-planning that goes on with the combine for you guys, but it's really more about networking. It's really more about finding out information. Most media members that are smart and are experienced, they don't give a shit about what goes on in the stadium at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. For viewers who don't have sort of an idea of what the combine is like in downtown Indianapolis, so at least these days, I don't know if they used to have it at the stadium somewhat, but yeah, all the testing goes on in Lucas Oil Stadium. But me, this is my third combine, and in my first 2 years, I have not stepped foot inside of Lucas Oil Stadium yet. So it's the Indiana Convention Center. It's right across the street from it, huge building, and that's where they have all these interviews that you end up seeing on TV. The coaches, the GMs, later in the week, all the prospects at different positions speak. And then there's a media workroom for us as well. So yeah, that's kind of where we're locked in a lot of during the day for those of us that have to write, on daily articles and things like that, and conduct interviews, go upstairs, downstairs, for all of that. And then a lot of the networking ends up, at least for us that are working during the day, has to happen at night. So going out at night and you really barely sleep because you get up the next morning and you got some more prospect interviews, and then stay up late at night just seeing who you run into out at the bars, the restaurants, the hotel lobbies, everything else.
Yeah, yeah. No, it's that's really what it ends up being about, is more about finding out all of that. Is there a last yesterday? I would imagine that I put this list out: Cedric Wilson, Robbie Chosen, Tyler Croft, Jeff Wilson. I think may not return. Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, Melvin Ingram, Eli Apple. Any other names that you may not expect to return?
All right, so tell me who you said again. Yeah.
I said Cedric Wilson, Robbie Chosen, Tyler Croft, Jeff Wilson, Christian Wilkins, Jerome Baker, Melvin Ingram, Eli Apple, besides, of course, the cuts that they just made with X and Agba.
Yeah, I think there would probably be a decision to make between Deshaun Elliott and Brandon Jones for Anthony Weaver, as far as keeping one of those safeties next to Javon Holland. And I know you're sneaking in Christian Wilkins on me in that list, and we've already. I know that's your take on it. I have him coming back, so we'll see what that ends up being. Who ends up being right on that one? So yeah, I would think between the safeties, you have to get one of those in, and then the other one's out. And then, yeah, and obviously, yeah, you did not have Andrew Van Ginkel, so I have him coming back as
Yeah.
well. So, yeah, I think that's a home run that you have to hit him. And you did not have Robert Hunt there, right? So you have the Dolphins bringing him back.
Oh yeah. In
Yeah,
fact, in fact, if Wilkins does not get tagged and he gets released, or they don't come to an agreement with him, I could see Rob Hunt getting the tag, and the money that gets freed up for X, that's what they use to then give him that contract. The flexibility they have, they use for free agency or any trades or any other guys that they need to sign. I could see a Rob Hunt getting tagged and then reworking that deal in June, because they have up until like June something, right, to rework that deal. Correct? If I'm right,
for
if you tag him, you have till like
Wilkins or Hunt, or whoever gets tagged. Yeah,
I mean
right.
Hunt. I mean Hunt.
Yeah,
So
yeah, right, right.
you
Mhm.
have to like June something. So right around when you get that
Right.
money, that's where you can use that money for Hunt, is what you can do.
Yeah, yeah,
So
that's a possibility. Another thing I'm thinking that we had to mention his name in that list is Connor Williams, and Drew Rosenhaus was on this past week saying that he expects him to wait in free agency. Now, if
really,
post June 1 money,
really, wait for what? The money to dry up? The options
well,
to dry up? Come
yeah,
on, bro.
well,
You
no,
said
but
that.
this could work for the Dolphins. This could work for the Dolphins because
Exactly.
they get
Exactly.
post June 1 money.
I know, but it sounds like it sounds like really creative bullshit on his part. But if you really know what's going on, you can't wait in free agency, dude. The money
Yeah, you should have, but
up, the options dry up, people make their plans, they go get their centers. They don't need you anymore. They're going to move on, bro.
yeah.
That's just kind
But
of the
there's a
way.
lot of uncertainty with Connor Williams coming off that ACL. So
And that plays, and you said it, that plays right into, I was like, when he said that, I laughed my ass off right there and then. I said, oh my God, this is great for the Dolphins. This is fantastic. You want to wait? Okay, good. The Dolphins won't be competing against anybody for your services. Freaking fantastic, bro. Love it.
And then later in the same day, that's when the news comes out that Xavier Howard is told that he will be released at the start of the new league year as a post June 1 cut. So then June, that money comes in, and if Connor Williams is waiting that long, then there you have it. That could work right into everyone's hands.
So you trying to find out about Derrick Henry or Patrick Queen?
Yeah. Those are two high priority items around here. So yeah, I mean Derrick Henry is. I think the Titans might be trying to work something up, but on Derrick Henry's perspective, he's
He ain't going back. He ain't going
right.
back.
Right.
He wants to go to a contender. They're not a contender right now. They're rebuilding in Tennessee. They're not a contender. He's not. They could try to want to work anything they want, but he's going to leave. He has to leave. It's time for him to go and go somewhere where he has a chance to actually really win. You know what I'm saying? And, he thought he was going to get drafted
time for him.
years ago. Yeah. So maybe Miami's a good place for him. Grass, no tax state, good offense. So
the need for a power short yardage runner.
Yeah. And track down Patrick Queen's agent, too. See what he said. Because, Mike McDaniel ain't going to give you guys shit in free agency because he can't. He can't say anything.
Well, yeah, you can't. Right.
He's not going to say anything. So you got to try and track down those agents and see what's going on. All right? So
Good call.
We'll catch up on Friday, my friend. You tell us the dirt.
Sir.
Okay?
Oh yes.
Good,
right.
man. Thank you, sir. All right, Welt Rheaume. We love talking about, Jeff Welt right now. Jeff Welt is like, if you meet Jeff Welt, I just want you to know that he permanently has a smile on his face the entire time. Okay? And that happens to all of us when our crypto bags are just exploding. And whether it's his Ethereum, his Bitcoin bag, his Pendle bag, whatever it is, my man Jeff Welt is killing it, and so is Daniel Rheaume. They are the best in the business. 954-966-4646. Folks, if unfortunately you're dealing with bankruptcy issues, homeowner property damage, condo damage, criminal defense, business owner claims, commercial litigation, personal injury, please call Jeff Welt and Daniel Rheaume, 954-966-4646. They can take care of you. The consultation is completely free. And even if you don't need a lawyer right now, with the new laws that DeSantis passed, he gave the businesses, the corporations, the edge over us, the consumer. So more importantly, now than ever, you better have the right lawyers. And I saw these guys in action, and they crushed Progressive. So please give them a ring, 954-966-4646.
This is the Big O Show. This is the Big O Show.